Hare Krishna. So welcome you all to the Sunday Bhagavad Gita classes. So we are in the chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita. And in the chapter 1, we saw that the scene was set. So there were Kauravas and Pandavas. They were against each other in the battlefield of Kurukshetra war. Actually speaking, they are all from the same family. So if some enemies come, they should be 100 plus 5, 105 brothers who should fight together. But what happened, instead of fighting against the enemies, they were fighting against themselves. Yeah. So this was mainly because of the Durbuddhi. Whose Durbuddhi it was? Dhritarashtra had a durbuddhi. He did not have a proper intelligence. So when person doesn't have a proper intelligence, so you see that you fight within yourself. I mean, amongst your own families, amongst yourself. So the war was inevitable. A lot of measures was taken to prevent the war. Even Krishna went as a Shantituda, but still this war became inevitable. Therefore, the Pandavas and Kauravas, they assembled in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and Arjuna was all set to fight. He came with all his great weapons. He came with his chariot gifted by Agni. He brought Gandhiva bow, which was gifted to him by Indra. So he had so many good weapons and all kind of capabilities to fight this war. And all of a sudden, what happened to Arjuna? In spite of having all the qualification, Arjuna suddenly went low.
Refused to fight.
Yeah, he did not want to fight. So he says, Krishna, Senayor Ubayor Madhye Ratam Stapaya Me Achyuta. Please the chariot in between both the armies. So it's not that Arjuna was not aware about whom he is fighting. He is well aware about his opponent, but still he was asking Krishna to place the chariot. And upon seeing the opposite army, Arjuna has proposed few arguments or the reason for not fighting. So what were the reasons? The first reason for Arjuna not to fight is due to compassion. Yeah. And then the second reason for Arjuna not to fight is
Loss
of enjoyment. He thought, even after winning the battle, with whom shall I enjoy? And the third reason was fear of sinful activity. He thought that, killing the guru, killing the teacher, and killing the relatives can incur sin. But what kind of people Arjuna was fighting against? They were already atatayini. They were aggressors. They committed all the 6 kind of aggression that Shastra says that anyone who performs one of these aggression also, they can be immediately killed. You don't have to go to the court for judgment or anything, because they are an aggressor and they can be killed. And by killing them, one does not incur any sinful activities. And then the last reason for Arjuna not to fight is
the destruction of
family traditions. So he thought that if the elderly family members, if they are killed in the battle, what will happen to the family? What will happen to the women in the family? Who will guide them? The elderly people in the family, they give the samskaras, they give the values, they give the tradition. So if they are not there anymore, then what will happen to the family? The women may get polluted. And then what will happen to the children? The unwanted progeny will be born, Varna Shankara. They will not be following the Varnashrama Dharma. So here we also saw that there are 2 types of women gets polluted, and also the child which is born because of not following proper samskaras, like a woman getting a child without even following the proper samskaras is also considered to be the Varna Shankara. Not just having illicit relation, but samskaras are there to purify one living entity. So the samskaras are very important in the human form of life to purify ourselves. And then We are in the second chapter, and the second chapter, we have 4 divisions. Can anybody help me to recollect the division?
We
Gita.
Gita.
Yeah.
So the Gita is G stands for accepting a guru.
Mhm.
Then I stands for identity.
Mhm.
T stands for two dharma, that is Vadharma and Parodharma.
Mhm.
And A stands for Adharma. Atma Rama. Atma Rama.
Atma Rama. Yeah, Atma Rama. Not Adharma is totally different. So Atma Rama is a person who is in Krishna consciousness. How does he speak? How does he act? How does he stand? How does he sit? How does he walk? Because if you say a person is a bhakta, there should be some symptoms that you can say that this person is a bhakta. So what are the qualifications that he possesses, and what are the symptoms so that you know that that particular person is in Krishna conscious? So that second chapter is overall the summary of Bhagavad Gita. So second chapter gives us a glimpse of all the subjects that has been spoken by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. And one subject which is only present in Bhagavad Gita is about the Atma, about the characteristics of the soul, which Krishna has particularly spoken about it in the second chapter, the how the characteristic of the soul. He has given particularly around 20 characteristic of the soul, what how the soul is. And then, like Krishna spoke about 4 types of yoga. He spoke about karma yoga, he spoke about jnana yoga, he spoke about ashtanga yoga, and he also spoke about bhakti yoga.
Bhakti.
And so all the glimpse of all these topics are just given in second chapter, but they are not in depth. But overall, you can understand what Gita is speaking about by reading the second chapter. And it is also called Sankhya Yoga, which means analytical study. So when it comes to the subject matter of the soul and everything, there's a lot of analytical studies that is involved here because it's a science. Bhagavad Gita is just not a theology or a philosophical book, but it is also very scientific and logical. So everything Krishna presents is with logic and with science. So those things we will be seeing in the second chapter. So in the beginning of the second chapter, we saw that now that Arjuna kept his weapons aside. So what happened? Dhritarashtra became happy. He thought that now that the war is not going to happen, Arjuna has given up. So Duryodhana is going to win. So it's going to be an easy win. So Sanjaya is saying, Tam tata kripaya vishtam ashtapurna kulekshanam vishidantam idam vakyam uvacha madhusudana. So Arjuna's compassion, we saw his compassion in the first chapter, but in the beginning of the second chapter, he was overwhelmed by compassion. He was lamenting, and because of that lamentation, he was having tears in his eyes. Ashtrupurna Kulekshanam. A Kshatriya having tears in the eyes is not an ordinary thing because a Kshatriya is known for a bravery. And in spite of that, Arjuna had tears in his eyes. So that is because of compassion. And in the purport, we saw Prabhupada explained about compassion, where the real compassion should be for the soul and not for the body. So here Arjuna is having compassion on the bodily level, not on the soul level. So that is what is being explained in the first sloka. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. So for the first time, Krishna starts speaking in Bhagavad Gita. And immediately when he starts speaking, how did he do? What did he do? He simply chastised Arjuna. He gave heavy chastisement to Arjuna. Whatever the reason Arjuna gave in terms of morality, they all appear to be very reasonable, isn't it? In the material terms, whatever Arjuna said, compassion, loss of enjoyment, sinful reactions, and destruction of family tradition, everything makes sense. But Bhagavad Gita is spoken beyond the morality. It is just not dealing us to follow the moral, but it is beyond the morality of how one can transfer oneself to the real position. Jivera Swarupaho Krishnera Nityadas. We are all eternal servant of Krishna. And Bhagavad Gita teaches us how we can end the miserable material life and go back to the
Godhead.
Go back to the
Krishna.
Vaikuntha or Goloka, Vrindavan, where there is no more birth, no more death, no more disease, and no more old age. So, and here, because Arjuna is speaking in terms of bodily platform, and Arjuna is not acting the one who is following the Varnashrama Dharma as well. He, as a Kshatriya, he is supposed to fight. If a Kshatriya is giving up the fight, that means he is not following his prescribed duty. So Krishna is giving heavy chastisement to him. Kutasva kashvalamidam vishame samupastitam anarya jushtam asvargyam akirtim karam Arjuna. How such kind of impurities have come in you? Kutasva kashvalamidam. These are not a good quality of a person like an Aryan. An Aryan is the one who understands the goal of the life. What is the goal of the Vedic civilization? Is to go back home, back to Godhead. Everybody had the knowledge of moksha, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Even though they were involved in making money, even though they were involved in having some kind of sense gratification, but the end goal was always
Moksha.
Moksha. So the
Going to God.
Varnashrama Dharma provides us to follow even the four Purusharthas, Dharma. By following the Dharma, one obtains Artha, means money. By getting the money, one involves in little bit of gratifying the senses. One gets into the family life, one has
Kama.
child. And in the Grahastha ashram, a person is allowed to have that Kama, but it is a Grahastha ashram where Krishna is under the center. So even though you're allowed to enjoy your senses, but it follows under the Varnashrama Dharma. And slowly, when a person becomes around 50 years old, he enters into Vanaprastha. He starts getting retired from the family life, hands over the responsibility to the children. And he, along with his wife, he goes to the pilgrimages, and at 75 years and above, he gets into the sannyasa, complete detachment from the family. So this is how the Vedic society was. So now here Arjuna, he doesn't want to fight. So anarya jushtam asvargyam. So this, you're behaving like a non-Aryan. Akirtim karam Arjuna. So he's asking Arjuna, do you think people will think that, out of compassion you left? They will think that, you just left the battlefield because you were scared, darpok. Nobody thinks that if somebody leaves in the battlefield, will people think that they were magnanimous? In the history, have you ever seen any king who left the battlefield is being remembered even today and being glorified?
No.
If somebody, Chhatrapati Shivaji, why is he still glorified? Because of his valor. Bravery, not just because he was following non-violence and he gave up the kingdom, right? So here Arjuna is akirtim. So this is a very infamous act that you will do. So don't think that by doing that, anything good will happen. Neither you will reach the heavenly planets, nor you will get any fame. So this is what Krishna is saying. And here particularly Krishna is addressed as Sri Bhagavan Vacha. And we saw there are 6 opulences which are present in Krishna to the fullest, namely wealth, strength, knowledge, fame, beauty, and renunciation. And all these qualities are present in fullness in Krishna. That is why he is called as Sri Bhagavan Vacha. And we also saw that there are 3 types of transcendentalists who realize the absolute truth in 3 ways. The first category is the Gyanis, who see the absolute truth as Brahman. The second category of transcendentalists see the absolute truth as Paramatma. And the third kind of transcendentalist, third
Bhagavan.
category sees as Bhagavan, which is the highest realization. So they are all the same objects, but the realization is different. For example, if you see the hill, from the distance, it just looks like foggy thing, something like a hill. And when you go further near, you will see that there are a lot of greenery. And when you go inside the hill, you will see that there are animals, there are humans, there are houses, there are many vegetations, there are many varieties present there. So, but the object is the same. It is the same hill, but the way it was looked, how it was looked from a distance, and little and closer and the closest. So the three kind of transcendentalists also falls under the same category. At a distance, first you see the God as Brahman, and when you're little more coming closer, you see him as Paramatma, present in the heart of all the living entities. And when you become a devotee, when you become a bhakta, you can realize him as a person.
Bhagwan.
Krishna is the supreme person. He is a Param Purush, not a person like us, but a supreme person. Okay, so we will go to today's class. We will recite 1 second. Hare Krishna. So we'll go to today's sloka. Please repeat after me. Klaibyam masmagama partha
क्लैम्ब्यं मास्मगम पार्थ
tatvai upapadhyate
नैत्यत्तव उपद्यते
Shudram hridaya daurbalyam
क्षुद्रं हृदय दौर्बल्यं
Tyaktvotishtha parantapa
त्यक्त्वोत्तिष्ठ परन्तप
Klaibyam masmagama partha
क्लैब्यं मास्मगम पार्थ
Tatvai upapadhyate
नैत्यत्वयुपपद्यते
हृदय दौर्बल्यम
क्षुद्रं हृदय दौर्बल्यं
त्यक्तोत्तिष्ठ परन्तप
त्यक्तोत्तिष्ठ परन्तप
परन्तप
wants to recite this sloka?
I can do that, Mataji.
Yes, please do.
क्लैब्यमास्मागमं गम पार्थ
क्लैब्यमास्मगम पार्थ
नैतत्वै उपपद्यते
नैतद्वै उपपद्यते
नैतत्त्वयुपपद्यते
क्षुद्रं हृदय दौर्बल्यं
क्षुद्रं हृदय
क्षुद्रं
दौर्बल्यम्
हृदयदौर्बल्यं
त्यक्तोत्तिष्ठ परन्तप
त्यक्त्वोत्तिष्ठ परन्तप
क्लैब्यम importance ma sma do not gamaha take to partha o son of pratha na never etat this twayi unto you upapadyate is befitting shudram pity hridaya of the heart daurbalyam weakness tyaktva giving up Uttishta, get up. Paramtapa, O chastiser of the enemies. Translation: O son of Pratha, do not yield to this degrading impotence. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy. Purport: Arjun was addressed as the son of Pratha, who happened to be the sister of Krishna's father, Vasudeva. Therefore, Arjun had a blood relationship with Krishna. If the son of Kshatriya declines to fight, he is a Kshatriya in name only, and if the son of Brahmana acts impiously, he is a Brahmana in the name only. Such Kshatriyas and Brahmanas are unworthy sons of their fathers. Therefore, Krishna did not want Arjun to become an unworthy son of Kshatriya. Arjun was the most intimate friend of Krishna, and Krishna was directly guiding him on the chariot. But in spite of all these credits, if Arjun abandoned the battle, he would be committing an infamous act. Therefore, Krishna said that such an attitude in Arjun did not fit his personality. Arjun might argue that he would give up the battle on the grounds of his magnanimous attitude for the most respectable Bhishma and his relatives, but Krishna considered that sort of magnanimity mere weakness of heart. Such false magnanimity was not approved by any authority. Therefore, such magnanimity or so-called non-violence should be given up by persons like Arjun under the direct guidance of Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikasa Swamiti Namine. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Desatarini. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Okay. So here we see three words, particularly Klaibyam. So Krishna addresses Arjuna as Klaibyam, means which is impotent. So he is giving a very heavy chastisement to Arjuna by calling him as an impotent. So calling a male as an impotent is such a big chastisement Krishna is doing. And Shudram Hridaya Daurbalyam. How is the heart of Arjuna? Hridaya Daurbalyam. His heart is
So
weak.
the
Due to the
weak.
weakness of the heart, his heart is weak, and he is also son of Pritha. He is saying that Partha, son of Pritha. So here, who is Arjuna? Is he coming from an ordinary dynasty? He is the son of Pritha, who is a Kshatrani from a great lineage, and also he is having blood relation with Krishna. So in spite of having such a very great background, if Arjuna is giving up the battlefield, will that be considered to be good?
No.
Can the son of the child of the lion can be a mouse?
No.
Never.
The child of the lion is also expected to be a lion.
Yeah.
So Arjuna, coming from a great lineage, he was supposed to be brave and fight against the battle. But here Arjuna is on the grounds of magnanimity. So here also in the material world, there are many things that we are considering on the moral grounds or magnanimous ground. But such thing is not approved by Krishna. He did not approve that. He said that these are all on the magnanimity cannot approve because this will lead for a very infamous act. Now, some people can say that, what kind of person is Krishna? He is inducing Arjuna to fight. He is creating violence. God means peace. God means not injuring others. God means the one who gives protection to all the living entities. And here, Krishna, what kind of personality is Krishna that he is inducing Arjuna to fight? So what will you say if somebody is asking you this question?
So he's inducing that just for a good cause.
Mhm. But today we
So there
are
is
in
nothing wrong
moral
in that.
terms. Yeah, we say that non-violence is great. You're committing violence. If somebody wants to follow the non-violence, why do you want to enforce him to do violence?
Yeah, because as long as the purpose is good, then
Mhm.
this can be done.
Mhm. So even the violence, what does the real thing of non-violence means? See, even
Mataji,
elsewhere
we
in...
need to follow the dharma, correct?
Yeah.
So now dharma is not followed here.
Mhm.
So actually to rectify the dharma is what God is saying that we need to, because Duryodhana is not we
Following the
tried
dharma.
Krishna, they tried to actually follow the dharma not through non-violence, just talking to them. They tried all options, but Duryodhana and the entire brothers and his father were not ready to compromise on the dharma
Yeah,
way.
that's an important thing. The role of a Kshatriya is to establish dharma. And to establish dharma, if the fight is required, he is supposed to do, because that is his prescribed duty. Even a Kshatriya, when he is young, he is allowed to go for hunting. And he hunts some fearful animals, just to get trained. So for a Kshatriya, even to kill an animal is not considered to be a sin, because he needs to get a practice ground of fighting. So here, Arjuna being a Kshatriya, his duty was supposed to fight. So saying that, Krishna is not following the moral grounds, it's not correct. Ata Sri Krishna Namadi na bhaved gragya indira. So with our blunt material senses, we cannot understand Krishna because our senses are very blunt. When we see the sun from here, how does the sun looks like?
So tiny.
It looks like a small disk, a ball kind of thing. But actually speaking, the sun is much bigger than the planet Earth. So is this not a defect of our senses?
Yes.
Because the object, we are not seeing the object the way it is. Everything that we see is not in an absolute term. Whatever we are seeing is in a relative term. We are not. So with that blunt senses, how can one understand Krishna? It is not possible to understand Krishna with our material senses. So therefore, one has to purify the senses. So to purify the senses, sevon mukohi jigvaho. So what you should do is, first the purification starts with the tongue. So by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and by taking the Krishna Prasadam, what happens to our senses? Our senses gets automatically purified. So only with the purified senses, one can understand Krishna. With the impure senses, one cannot understand Krishna. That is why we see that there are many people who are trying to, there are people who are reading Bhagavad Gita, but unless otherwise their senses are purified, they will not be able to understand the Gita.
Understand Krishna.
Yeah, because I have seen that there are few students when I met, they said that they did Bhagavad Gita, as a part of their course in their college or something. And then I just asked them a question, what did you understand from Bhagavad Gita? Basically, he was not able to say anything. So what is the ultimate message Krishna is giving in Bhagavad Gita? Sarvadharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam braja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami masucha. So Krishna is saying, abandon all varieties of dharma, just surrender to me. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo. I will get rid of all your sinful reactions and give you moksha. Do not fear. So these are the last words spoken by Krishna while he was signing out of Bhagavad Gita. So the purpose of Bhagavad Gita is not just to understand how to live in this world, but also how to leave this world. How do you live? He says that it is dukkhalayam ashashvatam. It is a place of misery and it is temporary. Everything here is temporary. Correct? The person whom you love the most, one day you have to depart from that person. Correct? Nothing is permanent here. Even we ourselves are temporary. One day, even we have to leave this world. But before leaving this world, one has to understand what is the purpose of the life. So that is where the whole Bhagavad Gita is teaching right from here, where Krishna is inducing Arjuna to fight. Because it is your prescribed duty to fight. By following the Varnashrama Dharma, one gradually gets purified. Because in Vedic system, everything that one does is a matter of purification. Doesn't matter if one is in Brahmacharya ashram, one is in Grahastha ashram, one is in Sannyasa, or one is in Vanaprastha. As long as one is following the proper Varna and ashrama, then one gets gradually purified. If one is in the mode of ignorance, or if one is in the mode of passion, one should not artificially try to become a Brahmana. Because one has to act according to his guna and do such activity which befits his guna. And by following that, he gradually gets purified. That is what the Vedic system said. Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha paradharmat swanushtitat. It is better to do one's own duty than following the other's duty, even though it is imperfect. Follow your guna and then do your activities. So it is also written in Upadeshamrit, which is Bhakti, which is written by Rupa Goswami on the nectar of instructions. So the very first instruction given is Vacho Vegam, Manasa Krodha Vegam, Jikva Vedam, Udara Pasta Vedam, Etan Vegan Yo Vishesha Dhara, Sarvam Apima Prithivim Cha Sishyat. A sober person who can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind's demands, the anger, and the urges of the tongue, belly, and genital is qualified to make the disciples all over the world. So the first thing that one should do is, what should we do? Purify the senses. So it should start right from Vacha Vegam. One should know to control the speech. When we see that the two countries are fighting each other, is that one fine day Israel and Palestine, they decided to fight, or it started with, the argument started with their speech? How do the two countries fight? Is that just they take a army and fight, or before that they develop some kind of a cold war?
Disagreements and difference of
Disagreement.
opinion.
It all starts with the words. Correct. After the words do not help, then it goes. So the words are very important. So one should learn to control the words, Vacha Vegam. And then one has to control the mind, and one has to control the anger. And one also have to control the tongue. By controlling the tongue, all the other things like stomach and genitals, they automatically get controlled because they are all in the same line. If you see in the bodily structure, in the anatomy, you see that the tongue, the stomach, and the genitals, they are all in the same line. So by controlling the tongue, all the other senses can automatically be purified. So that is why it is very important for us to control our senses. And controlling our senses starts with tongue. And with the tongue, what do we do? Two main functions of the tongue is to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and to accept the Krishna Prasadam. So by doing these two activities, automatically our senses get purified. And with the purified senses, one will be able to understand Krishna. So that is the reason why, even though we are only in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, we are doing activities that help us to understand the Bhagavad Gita. So what are we doing? We are chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. We are accepting Krishna Prasadam. We are following the Ekadashi. And we are reading the scriptures like Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. And also we are doing the altar worship. By doing so, what is happening to us? We are becoming a recipient to understand the knowledge of
Krishna.
Bhagavad Gita. We are able to understand who Krishna is. Otherwise, without understanding, without becoming a devotee of Krishna, Bhaktyamam abhijanati, only my devotee can understand me. Otherwise, we cannot understand Krishna. So to understand Krishna, first we have to become a devotee. And to become a devotee, it all starts with our tongue. One has to start chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and accept the Krishna Prasad.
Krishna Prasad.
So the two things that one should do. And the weakness of the heart. Today, aren't we not seeing that many people today, although they are very capable, they are today people, we see that they are much more educated in the material terms. We see people becoming doctorates, many engineers, doctors, and professionals, and coming up. And what about their heart? And we see that the suicidal rates are highest in which kind of colleges? Colleges
In big
like
schools and big schools, in big
IITs and
institutes.
everything. And Shweta Mataji is from Kota. So we know how many such incidences you will be hearing day in and day out. Isn't it, Mataji?
Yes, true.
Because you're going thinking that you're getting educated, thinking that you're aiming high and go. But what is happening to your heart? You're becoming weak in your heart. So that weakness of the heart is something that one has to consider. How can when you're not able to do your prescribed duty, when you're affected by the so-called society and everything, then what happens is the heart becomes weaker. Here, Arjuna was thinking about, how can I kill my own relatives? How can I kill my own teacher? How can I kill my own guru? On what terms he was thinking? He was thinking everything in the bodily concept of life because he has a relation. So today also in this world, we see that most of the people, whatever activities they are doing, are they doing what they like? Are they doing what the society is imposing on them? Why does the weakness of the heart comes? Is that the child is really interested to do preparation for IIT and went there and then lost the heart and committing suicide, or the child is being forced to go there and study? Which kind of child does that? A child who goes out of interest, who has a lot of love towards science will do that, or the child who doesn't?
Yeah, the child who is not having any kind of interest.
Yeah,
And who
because
is
of the
playful.
social pressure, because of the
Yeah.
parent pressure, they like to do, and because they are again in that concept, so they become weak in the heart. So because of the weakness of the heart, we see that Arjuna, in spite of being a great warrior, he has even defeated Devatas, he has defeated Indra, he has defeated Shiva. So he is such a great warrior. Even Dronacharya was so affectionate to Arjuna that he taught certain skills to Arjuna, which he has not even taught to
His
Ashwatthama,
son.
to his own son, because he was very affectionate to them. And even Bhishma Pita, he was so affectionate to the Pandavas because they lost their father at a very young age. So naturally, as a grandfather, he had a lot of affection towards them. And even when they were banished to the forest, Bhishma was feeling very sad. Even he had tears in his eyes. He was thinking why they are suffering so much. Even in spite of Krishna being with them, it is happening. But there is one fault which Bhishma Pita and Dronacharya has done. What is the fault that they have done?
Being in the side of the
Pandava. And why
right.
they were in the side of the Kauravas? Because they were getting paid by Duryodhana. Duryodhana was the king. When Pandavas were banished to the forest, Duryodhana was acting as a king, and means Dhritarashtra was acting as a king, and he was getting salary from them. So because of them, that they were feeling it obliged. And Bhishma and Drona, they know that anyway Arjuna, Pandavas are going to win. How they know that they are going to win? Because who
Krishna
was
is
by
in
their
their
side.
side.
So they thought that anyway they are going to win. And after getting paid by Dhritarashtra, and if they are not being loyal to them, then they did not feel that it is a right thing. Even in the gambling match, when Draupadi, when she was ordered to disrobe, they were all quiet. Bhishma Pita, they did not even do one opposing words because they thought that they are obliged to them because they are getting paid by them. So in the same way, we are also not supposed to take the food that is cooked by the materialistic people. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said that the food that is cooked by the materialistic people, by consuming that, our mind gets polluted because the consciousness is transferred in the food the person is cooking. If a person is cooking food with anger, if the person is cooking food with frustration, like for example, now we are in the summer season, we don't like to stay in the kitchen, in our own kitchen for longer time. It's so hot, right? It's already hot and you're cooking with a fire. You feel much more hot in the kitchen. Do you really love to cook in the summer? Not really, right? Because the weather is very hot, but still you cook because you have to feed your family. But imagine a person who is working as a cook, who is working for a salary, who is sweating, who is suffering a lot, and he is cooking food just because he is getting paid. with what consciousness he'll be cooking the food?
With the irritation, frustration.
Frustration. He'll be thinking, what kind of fate I'm having that I have to cook? That my karma is so bad that I'm supposed to cook in this hot sun. So, and when the person who eats the food cooked by such person, automatically he also feels frustrated and irritated. You do not know. Generally, when you take the outside food, it might be good in taste. You may feel good, you may have fun, you may give. But after coming home and after some time, mostly you don't really feel good. Because even in the restaurant, the food is prepared for making money. Because it's a commercial activity. Why they are enhancing the taste? So that they can make more money.
More money.
Are they feeding people thinking that, you know, I am helping the soul by eating good food? No. So they just keep opening one restaurant after another, one franchise after another, and they have big, big chains. So that is why we as a devotee, we should take the food that is offered to Krishna. Even at home, when we eat the food that is cooked by mother, that is cooked by the sister, it is prepared out of love. So by eating the food, we get nourished. But when we are eating the food that is not cooked by someone out of love, then we also do not get the same feeling. So that is why it is very important for us to accept the Krishna Prasadam.
Prasadam.
Okay, so therefore here Krishna, he did not approve Arjuna. And moreover, more than anything, what is the most important thing is to follow the guidance of Krishna. Follow what Krishna says. For example, we saw that Krishna wanted Yudhishthir to speak a lie that Ashwatthama died in the battlefield. And Yudhishthir disagreed to speak the lie on a moral term. Because of that, Yudhishthir was sent to hell for one day. So more than anything, one has to follow the instructions of Krishna. So here, Krishna was beside Arjuna, and slowly we will see that how Krishna is unfolding the knowledge to Arjuna. It's not that Arjuna is really ignorant. We saw that Arjuna is Gudakesha. Gudakesha means one who conquered the sleep. So sleep is also a sign of ignorance. When we see the enlightened people like sages and the saintly people, they do not sleep for a long time. The Goswamis of Vrindavan, the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, they were only sleeping for 1.5 hours or 2 hours in a day. Even Prabhupada, he took rest only for 2 hours to 4 hours a day. He did not sleep beyond that. So the saintly people, they do not sleep. Sleep is a sign of ignorance. And Arjuna is called Gudakesha. He has conquered the sleep. That means he has conquered the ignorance. He is acting ignorant here so that Krishna can give Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. Because what is the qualification of Arjuna? Bhaktosi me sakacheti. He is a devotee as well as the friend. So even if we have to receive the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, we should become the devotee of Krishna, Bhakta. And Saka, he became the friend. So that is a qualification for us to understand the message of Gita. Okay, can we go to the next sloka? Arjuna Uvacha.
Arjuna Uvacha.
Katam Bhishmam Aham Sankhe.
Katam Bhishmam Aham Sankhe.
Namcha Madhusudana.
Dronam cha Madhusudana.
Yotsami.
Ishubhe Prati Yosyami.
Jarhavari Sudana.
Pujarharisudana.
Katam Bhishmam Aham Sankhe.
Katam Bhishmam Aham Sankhe.
Namcha Madhusudana.
Dronam cha Madhusudana.
Yotsami.
Ishubhe Prati Yosyami.
Jarhavari Sudana.
Pujarharisudana.
Would like to do this sloka? Shweta Mataji, would you like?
Yeah, I'll do. Arjun Uvacha Katham
Arjuna
Katham
Uvacha
Bhishmamaham Sankhe
Katham
Katam
Bhishmam
Bhishmamaham Sankhe
Dronam Cha Madhusudana
Dronam cha
Dronam cha
Madhusudana
Madhusudana
Ishubhihi Pratiyotsami
Ishubhi
Ishubhi
Pratiyotsami
Pratiyotsami
Pujahar Varisudana
Pujar Havari Sudana.
Harisudana
Arjuna Uvacha Arjun said Katham how Bhishma Aham I Sankhya in the fight Dronam Drona Cha also Madhusudana O killer of Madhu Ishubhihi with arrows Pratiyotsyami shall counterattack Puja Ahrau those who are worshipable Arisudana O killer of the enemies. Arjuna said, O killer of enemies, O killer of Madhu, how can I counterattack with arrows in battle men like Bhishma and Drona who are worthy of my worship? Purport respectable superiors like Bhishma, the grandfather, and Dronacharya, the teacher, are always worshipable. Even if they attack, they should not be counterattacked. It is general etiquette that superiors are not to be offered even a verbal fight. Even if they are sometimes harsh in behavior, they should not be harshly treated. Then how is it possible for Arjuna to counterattack them? Would Krishna ever attack his own grandfather, Ugrasena, or his teacher, Sandipani Muni? These were some of the arguments offered by Arjuna to Krishna.
So we can see here, Arjuna is addressing Krishna as Madhusudana, one who has killed the demon Madhu. Not that he is a Sandipani Sudana or Ugrasena Sudana. So he is asking Krishna, so will you be killing your own grandfather? Will you be killing your own teacher? Why do you want me to be Bhishma Sudana? Why do you want me to become a Drona Sudana? And they are very respectable people. Bhishma is such a great devotee of Krishna. And Dronacharya was a very, very respectable teacher. And when they have such a qualification, they are not even ordinary people, such a qualified people, how am I supposed to be against them? So in the Vedic civilization, we see that the elders are highly respected. Even a verbal fight against the elders is considered to be inetiquette or considered to be sinful. The elderly people are supposed to be treated with a lot of respect. The teachers are supposed to be respected in the Vedic culture. Even if they are harsh, a teacher is harsh, a student cannot retaliate to the teacher. But today in the society, do you think that anybody would understand this? The children are not supposed to raise the voice against the elders?
No, they don't have any clue of what they are doing, Mataji.
Yeah, they are not supposed to do. But today it became reverse. If parents are raising the voice, if parents are giving thappar in your country, in US, you can call 911 and the parents can get arrested also.
Yeah.
So it is actually the other way around. Sometimes to discipline the child, we need to raise our voice. Sometimes we need to give them, a little bit of thappar, not just because you have hatred towards the child, not that you're doing violence against your child. It is just for you to discipline your child. Correct? But these things today are considered to be wrong. But when the child is raising the hand, when the child is doing, it is considered to be normal. So what kind of independence is this? Is this what the society is leading? By doing so, what is happening today?
Deteriorating.
The society is degrading. We see the children who are born of Varna Shankara population. We see that they are doing gun shooting. They are in drugs. They are involved in a lot of sinful activities. Why it is happening? Because they are not following the dharma and the independence and the so-called independence that is given to the society. Is it helping in the advancement of the society?
No.
It is not helping them in their advancement. So this is a question which Arjuna is posing against Krishna. How can they be killed? It is not right on my part to kill them because they are my worshipable people. As we said that Bhishma Pita was very, very affectionate to them, and Dronacharya was also very highly respectable. But because Dronacharya was feeling grateful to Dhritarashtra because he was in a very poverty-stricken condition. When Dhritarashtra hired him, Dronacharya was very poor. Remember in the first chapter, we saw the pastime of Drishtadumna,
Yeah.
Yeah.
where
Yes.
Dronacharya was very poor. He did not even have money to feed milk.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was the position. But because Dhritarashtra, he gave him the living and he made him the, the one who can be a coach for their children. So he felt very grateful. He felt very thankful. And Bhishma Pita also, he thought because he was maintained, he was a Senapati and he was given the quarters, he was given the the food and everything. So they both felt that they are obliged to the other party, even though they are aware that they are supporting adharma. Does Bhishma not know that the Kauravas were adharmic? Is Dronacharya not aware that they were adharmic? But still, why they took the side of adharma? Because they were being paid. So when we are being salary, when we are getting salary from somebody, we are getting obliged to that person. So here we saw that how they both were obliged. And Krishna's argument is because, yes, if a guru is not following the dharma, if a guru is falling down from dharma, a guru can be rejected. We saw in the history, we saw from Bhagavad Mahapuran that when Vamana came to King Bali to claim all the property from Bali, Vamana initially asked only for 3 steps. And Bali Maharaj said, why just 3 steps? I am a king. Please ask me something that befits asking a king. But Shukracharya, what did he say? He said that don't agree for that because he is Vishnu himself. He told him to take back the words. But did Bali Maharaj, did he oblige to the words of Shukracharya?
No.
He rejected him. And in fact, Bali Maharaj, he died already. He was brought back to life by Shukracharya. He brought him back to life. He has given him Jivadhan. So if somebody has given you life back, you're very, very grateful to that person. Correct? But in spite of that, why did Bali Maharaj, why did he reject Shukracharya here? Because Shukracharya was going against
Dharma.
Vishnu.
Because we was
Mainly Vishnu. Because Vishnu is the center. He is the Bhoktaram Yajnatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. He is the master of all the 3 worlds. And Yajnatapasam, he is the enjoyer of all the sacrifices. Suhritam Sarvabhutanam. And he is a well-wisher of all the living entity. Jnatvamam Shantim Richati. One who knows this attains peace. So Bali Maharaj, he rejected Shukracharya because he wanted to please Vishnu. Because of that, we know that Bali Maharaj, even though he is in the lower planets, who is guarding his kingdom?
Vishnu?
Vamana, Vamana, when he came, he himself has become the doorkeeper. Especially for people from Kerala, you know that Bali Maharaj comes once a year. That's the Onam, to see if the
Onam.
Prajas are all doing good. Correct. So if you see all our festivals, they are all based on Krishna consciousness only. Vishu. Every offering that you're getting, your grains, the Lakshmi, the vegetables, the fruits, everything you're offering to Krishna. Why do you offering to Krishna?
He is the
Even if
supreme.
somebody is not following the actual Krishna conscious process, but by our culture, we are aware that everything belongs to Krishna.
Krishna.
Ishavasham idam sarvam. Everything belongs to Krishna. So all the offerings, all the grains, all the pulses, all the vegetables, all the fruits, and Lakshmi and cloths, everything is offered to Krishna on the
Krishna.
day of Vishu. That's a every culture has harvest festival we offer. So if you're seeing all the festivals and culture of our country, everything is based on Krishna consciousness only. People may accept or reject, but now when you're looking back, can you understand, Mataji, we were already Krishna conscious?
Yeah.
Even we
very
may
true.
not be following the chanting process and everything. So basically, everybody is Krishna conscious. So we are offering. And Prahalad, Hiranyakashipu was killed by Narsimhadev. A father is also considered to be a guru. So he let his father to be killed. So why did he let his father to be killed?
He was against Vishnu. So he
Yeah,
didn't
he
want
was against
A
Vishnu,
bad
and
place.
Prahlad was also aware that he would be killing only his body, but not the soul.
the soul.
But when Prahlad was given benediction, what did Prahlad ask to
To forgive
Narsimhadev?
his father.
To forgive his
forgive
father and to give him liberation. And what did Narsimhadev said? Not just your father,
21 generation.
21 generations will get liberated. So because Prahlad was aware about the difference between the body and the soul.
So,
So if that was the reason, even if the father was being killed on a bodily platform, he allowed his father to be killed by going against his father. Even though a father is considered to be a guru, because parents are natural gurus to the children. The mother is the first guru for the child. The mother teaches the child how to speak. The mother teaches the child how to eat. The mother teaches the child how to behave. So the parents become the first guru for the child, even before the child goes to the school. Correct.
Yes,
So in
Mataji.
spite of that, Prahlad, he went against his father and he rejected the guru. So the Shastra says that if you are having a wrong guru, or if somebody is your guru and the guru has fallen down from his position, one can even reject the guru. You just because you have accepted somebody as a guru, and later on you have come to know that the guru that you accepted is a false guru, is not following the dharma. So one does not still have to accept that person as a guru just because he was your guru for a long time. That does not make one to be qualified as a guru, and one can reject such guru for what cause? To get, to obtain
Krishna.
Krishna. Yeah, to obtain Krishna. So here, because Krishna was by the side of Arjuna, we see in the end of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna's all the doubts and confusions were clarified, and Arjun decided to fight. So we also have a lot of confusions and a lot of indecisiveness in our life. So whom do we consult? We have to consult Krishna. And how is Krishna speaking to us? Through Bhagavad Gita. It is his Vani himself. So by following the instructions given by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, it is just not to Arjuna, it is for all of us. Even we can have a meaningful and a peaceful life. And in the end, we can go back to home, back to Godhead. So that is the very essence of Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So we will finish the class today with this. And any questions or anything regarding these two slokas or regarding anything about your practices or whatever you're doing? We'll just take one or two questions.
So 2, 3 essence, Mataji, I gathered from today's class. I just
Okay.
want to just
Yeah.
reflect back. It's not a feedback.
Okay.
Little emotional also, but
Okay.
what we could. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So what we speak, it
Mhm.
has to be really. Sometimes we become over Mm.
Mhm.
So we get many a time some moods get irritated,
Yeah,
we get
correct.
angry.
Mhm.
So at that moment, anywhere in the train or
Mm.
wherever the journey, wherever you do.
Mm.
So depending on the opposite person, we react. I think
Correct.
that reaction, Mataji,
Mhm.
we shouldn't react. We just so how do we
Yeah.
opposite person? How do
One
we?
should learn to respond, not to react. One should learn to tolerate because they are behaving as per their gunas. If somebody is in Rajoguna and and Tamoguna, they will behave like that. And if we are doing that, that means we are also sharing their guna. So
Hmm.
this is by practice. No matter whatever the opposite person speaks, one should be quiet. Even here, Krishna, we saw that Arjuna was keep on talking. For 47 slokas, we see that Krishna did not even open his mouth. He was just hearing. Sometimes what is happening to us, we have somebody, our children talking or anything. It is including me also. I'm not saying that I am transcendental. We immediately start giving them solutions. We immediately start judging them. In spite of they giving, they have to speak probably 4 or 5 things. But what do? The very first thing they speak, immediately we try to give the solution. So from Bhagavad Gita also, we should learn that we should also be a good listener. We should know to understand from others' perspective also, which we saw that how Krishna was hearing properly from Arjuna's perspective. He did not interrupt him. After Arjuna has spoken completely, then only Krishna spoke. But he spoke with lot of chastisement. Okay, Mataji. So particularly, I know that going in the train, living in the city, people are irritated and they use some abusive words and they do. So we do not feel very good about it. And sometimes you feel like reacting. Now, what you can do, Mataji, instead you chant Mahamantra. Whenever you feel like reacting, in your mind, you chant Mahamantra. That will help us from doing that. Okay, Mataji. Yes.
And respecting the elders, very important. This is one which we just miss these days, respecting the elders
Correct.
and be tolerant with whatever they do.
Mhm.
That is true, Mataji. We like at home also we get irritated with our own mother. We think our
Yeah.
mother can tolerate and she also tolerates us. Or
Yeah.
father for that matter, or any brothers.
That's what the
So
Vedic culture is all based on, the respecting the elderly, not only the parents, even elderly sister, elderly brothers, teachers, everybody is to be respected. Unfortunately, today, the society is not built on one particular thing. Even though we send the children to school, we see that the children are not able to respect the teachers also today. It can be both the ways because students are also not completely relying on the teacher today. They try to go through the YouTube, go through this. They do not consider teacher to be the source of knowledge or information. And neither the teacher comes with that attitude of giving the knowledge to the students. So these are all the entire society because of the lack of knowledge. So the society is behaving like this today. So somehow or the other, we need to cultivate that respectful society where, the elders are to be respected. That's why we see in our culture, in many of the culture, when we see the elders, we take blessing in their feet.
yeah.
So this is just surrendering to them, acknowledging them. This is very important, to respect the elders, to respect the teachers, and to respect your guru. These are all the things. Why we are paying the obeisances to Krishna also. At least, Mataji, every day we have to pay obeisances to Krishna 6 times. There was Sanatan Goswamis of Vrindavan. You know how many obeisances he was paying every day? 2,000 obeisances he was paying every day in Vrindavan to all the Vaishnavas, to all the people you go. That is why you see that Vaishnavism is also based on surrender. Surrendering to the Guru, surrendering to Krishna. You see, when the two devotees, when they meet each other, they bow down to each other. This is it's just not a Vaishnavism, it is the respect, the culture of respect. No, we should cultivate that culture of respect here. Yes, Arjuna was having that. Here, they were to be rejected because they were not following the dharma. That's what Krishna says. Okay? Because they were following the adharmic side. So because they have fallen down from their position. And why they fallen down? Because they were getting money from the Kauravas. Anything else, Mataji? Yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions or any reflections?
Mataji, I have a question.
Okay.
So in this third verse, we read that we have to give up weakness of the heart.
Yeah.
So like how Arjun was also overwhelmed and he couldn't do his duty. So similarly, we also have a lot of phases in life as such wherein we get very overwhelmed with our duties, everyday duties, like giving up on them, maybe because of weakness of heart. So how do we understand that, and how do we understand that sometimes it's maybe even okay to give up on some duties?
Yes, Mataji. There are some basic duties which we are supposed to do, like the Paro Dharma and Swadharma, the two dharmas. So, especially our vow to chant the 16 rounds of Mahamantra and to do little bit of reading and everything, one should not give up. One should always try to take the shelter of Krishna, because Krishna can also expand the time for the devotees. So rather than thinking about giving up, one should try to make your connection with Krishna much stronger. Even a simple prayer, when you just start your day, just make a prayer: Krishna, I am yours, you are mine. A very, very simple prayers on how you can always keep Krishna in your heart. That will also help, Mataji. Even like remembering Krishna, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnum, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam. On a very difficult day where you're not able to hear Krishna, where you're not able to do other services to Krishna, at least we can remember Krishna. Krishna says to Arjuna in the 7th chapter, Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Mam Anusmara Yudhyacha. Always remember me and do your duty. Here, Arjuna's duty was to fight. Our duty is we may be working, we may have other duties which are bound to the home, and such tasks may not allow us to do our regular devotional service, what we have been doing. So during those times, we can somehow or the other dotile our mind and everything to remember Krishna. And once we have taken some sankalpa, for example, of chanting 16 rounds, even if you are not able to finish on a same day, try to finish it by next day or other. Don't give up the sankalpa, whatever you are given. Because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Ye yatamam prapadyante tam sataiva bhajamyaham. To the extent you surrender to me, to that extent I reciprocate. So if we are keeping Krishna as a goal of our life, then Krishna will surely help us. And there is a 55th sloka in Bhagavad Gita, in the 11th chapter, where Krishna has given the way in which we can obtain him. There are 5 particular ways we can obtain Krishna. He says, my dear Arjuna, he who engages in my pure devotional service, free from the contamination of fruitive activities and mental speculation, work for me, who makes me the supreme goal of life, who is friendly to every living entity, certainly comes to me. So the 5 ways of approaching Krishna is to become his devotee and to make Krishna the goal of life and come out of the fruitive activities. Our disease is whatever the activity we do, we look for some result. Even in devotional activity, if we are doing something, we say that, I have done so much, so I should get something out of it. And we should not be envious against any living entities. And we should be friendly to all the living entities and working for Krishna. By doing so, Krishna says that one can reach Krishna, one can go to Krishna. So Krishna has given so many ways and methods, Mataji, of worshipping him. So what is the actual weakness that you're talking about? If you if you can refine it a little bit better.
Like just during our duties, like sometimes we feel like giving up on them because of
Means
weakness.
you're feeling giving up on chanting or giving up on hearing or reading. That's what you mean?
More of those activities that come in between our spiritual activities.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Something like our everyday duties.
You feel
towards-
that your sadhana's coming down
Yes,
sometimes because of other duties.
right.
Yeah. So yeah, sometimes Mataji, our life also doesn't go in a same way. Like for example, if you're getting a new job, you might be doing little more of work. You might be expected to spend little more time over there. But if this is what we have taken as your duty and you have to work, so such a time, what you can do is you have to do a proper time management. Like, for example, you're now earning, and that is also you can docile to Krishna by giving a part of your earning for Krishna conscious activity.
Right.
No, that can also become a service to Krishna. So somewhere or the other, whatever activities you do, try to bring Krishna in that picture. Okay, when you're traveling, maybe you can chant or you can hear to some lectures. So just ensure that other than work, whatever time I am given, since the goal of my life is Krishna, I will try to do such activity that can please Krishna. So that much we can do in many different ways, like Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnum, Smaranam, even remembering Krishna. We can remember him under all situations.
Right.
Okay, that much we can do. For example, you have listened to some lecture in the later part of the day, you can try to reflect on it. You can try to recollect on it. That is also a remembrance. Or you can just simply, you can remember some pastime of Krishna, which you liked the most, which attracted you the most.
Right.
So there are some pastimes where, you're so much attracted to that pastime. So you can remember that pastime. You can think about the glories of Krishna. For example, the Brahmana in Sri Rangam, he was asked to read Bhagavad Gita every day by his guru, but he is an illiterate. He does not know to read. But whenever he takes Bhagavad Gita, he had tears in his eyes. Once Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he went to Sri Rangam and he saw this Brahmana was crying. And even the other Brahmanas, the learned Brahmanas, they used to mock this person. Why are you even reading? You're reading so wrongly that, even Krishna will get irritated with you. But he says, this is an instruction given by Guru, so I have to follow that. So, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is asking him, why are you having tears in his eyes? He says that whenever I see the front picture, Krishna being a Param Purush, he became a chariot driver of Arjuna. So he's seeing his magnanimous activity, magnanimous nature, I am having tears in my eyes. So how can he take up such a menial role of becoming a charity for his devotee? So that seeing that makes me cry. So just remembering that front page, he had an emotion and tears in his eyes. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu hugged him and said that you are the one you understood Bhagavad Gita. So it is not that, yes, we are trying to accumulate knowledge. We are trying to develop the knowledge. But that knowledge is for us to become a devotee of Krishna. That knowledge is not for us, to become pride or to become, to feel great that I know Bhagavad Gita, I have read. No, this knowledge should help us to become a devotee of Krishna. This knowledge should help us to come out of the cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease. This knowledge should help us to understand the goal of life. So maybe 8 hours you're working, some other time, even when you're cleaning the home, when you're doing, try to hear to some bhajans, try to, listen to some class. Krishna consciousness is very diverse, Matas. There are so many activities one can do in Krishna consciousness. So we can try to do something like that.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you
Okay.
so much.
So can we end the class here?
Yes.
Yes, Mataji.
वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभयेव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, भगवद गीता एज इट इज की जय।